Hey everyone, joy of going last. My time's been cut a little bit, so I'm going to speed talk a little bit, so I apologize if I ramble here. Today we're going to talk about building stories. I'm actually a recovering architect, proof that there's life after this profession. I'm going to give you a little bit about a background about who I am. I always start with the 3 B's. Born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so my life was all about beer. Moved to Minneapolis, followed the great babe of Mary Tyler Moore, discovered who I wanted to be. Ended up in the Bay Area, and this is where I've been now for the last 18 years. As I said, I am a recovering architect, practiced for about 8 years, went on to Berkeley, decided to become a planner, practiced for about 6 years there. After about 14 years, discovered I really don't want to do this anymore. But I still love the industry, so what I actually do now is I do information design. I help people like you, and people like me, communicate better. We all have our own language of what we do, what we design for. We don't always have the best ability, except for the last speaker, to communicate what we are really about. So it's about drawing, it's about communicating. A little dark room here, but my life, my Bible, are these sketchbooks. I have the same sketchbook style. This is number 46 from when I've been in architecture school. Every single thing I've ever designed, I committed to it, I held on to it. I have this record, and I always go back to it. So this is great little ability to talk about today what is architecture. Architecture, we're talking about the building, we're talking about craft, we're talking about space, we're talking about places to inhabit. This is architecture. Spaces for people to move in, spaces for people to work in, spaces for people to call home, spaces for people to make their own and personalize. Is this architecture? Yeah. What about this? The ability to talk about what you do. The ability to make a promise about what we do as a profession and what we do to connect to the rest of the world. How can we actually engage both electronically and physically in the buildings we design? And social media, how can we actually look at what technology can do for us today to actually improve what is architecture?
Can I give you this?
Yeah, totally. For me, architecture is about communication. It's communicating who we are, what we do. It's saying I'm so-and-so as an individual, as an organization. It's about where we want to be in the future and about how to get there, the path we're going to go through. And oh yeah, it's about some drawing. We actually have to build something here. But for me, architecture looks like something else than for a lot of people. It's not just about the building. It's about branding. It's about taking a firm and describing, are we provocative like KMD architects? Are we more pragmatic like Mazzetti Engineering? Are we more flexible and fluid like RHAA Environmental and Landscape Architects? Is it about Stantec, the corporate, the communication, the control of the world? Is it about contrasting what people think we are and what we want to do? Is it about taking a telecommunications company, an engineering company who are all the geeky pocket protectors, and telling people how buildings can turn them on? Architecture is also about marketing. It's understanding that we have a story to tell, and we actually have to tell it to someone. So understanding if we go after a library such like the AIACC library, to understand and explain to the person, we understand different examples of who are the different people who are going to be coming and using this library, and telling them we know who you are. Is it about working with Fox Interactive Media to say what is the future of a tech urban campus? What do you do when you go into a space? Not just about the design of the spaces, but how do you actually engage the spaces through technology? Is it about working in the Presidio of San Francisco and developing the idea of a palimpsest? For those of you who don't know what a palimpsest is, it's about this parchment that has been rewritten and erased and rewritten. And here we had 200 years of a history, military history in the Presidio. And how do you determine what the new building that gets built in the Presidio takes advantage of all that history? Is it about taking a project that was originally called Seawall Lot 337 and Pier 42 and changing its name to Mission Rock, which is going to be a new entertainment complex in San Francisco, and coming up with the story of the Mission Rockettes, where we're going to import the Rockettes from New York to San Francisco? Is it about understanding a mixed-use community? We all love that word mixed use, but what is it? It's understanding this new portion of Panama City that is going to be geared towards different people and different lifestyles. It's going to be focusing on ready for takeoff as a port and a logistics center. as well as a way for tourists to get away from it all at the center of the world. Architecture is also about explaining. We know how to design. We don't always know how to tell people what it is we do. Describing LEED, and the first LEED certified hospital in San Francisco, actually in the world. What does it mean to be LEED certified? What goes into a building like that? What goes into Kaiser Permanente when they build a new hospital, and explaining what a net zero building is? From looking at a recycling center to tell people, yeah, bring your aluminum cans here, but also, why do you do it? What is the life cycle of an aluminum can? How is it made? All these things to make a connection to the person. Explaining to people different energy sources for your building and how you can actually make different cost decisions based on where the energy is coming from. Working with Salesforce.com's new campus, which didn't go, but explaining to them how to use technology, their own technology, to make more of a social campus where people can understand each other and all the different ways they can get around their 12 different buildings on campus. Architecture is also about communicating, not necessarily just from us to our clients, but helping our clients communicate to their own clients, their audience. Another project, this was originally called Alameda Fleet Industrial Supply Center, Alameda FISC for short, coming up with an Alameda landing to actually invite people to come back to a part of Alameda that wasn't always very positive. Gateway Park is going to be a new park at the edge of the Golden Gate Bridge, or the Bay Bridge. Again, it's a part that's often overlooked, but how do you actually celebrate the fact that people can now walk onto the bridge, at least from Oakland to Treasure Island? Working in Harlem on 125th Street, how can you actually focus on the arts, the culture, the roots, and the history of this place in a bilingual community to explain what we want to do in the future? Or working with the Hearst Gymnasium on Berkeley's campus and looking at what is the importance of history in defining what we want to redo with a building. Or again at the Presidio, saying how can we reuse history to actually define what the architecture looks like in the future at the campus. And lastly, architecture is about moving. A lot of times we build the building, we walk away. I don't like to walk away. Whether there's wayfinding and defining, let people know how to keep moving through the spaces. Again with El Cerrito, showing people how to get engaged in the future of recycling. Whether it's downtown San Jose and helping people understand how to work with their whole brand, their image of a city, and put that image on display throughout the entire downtown. Or this is one of my favorite ones. We all work with construction. A lot of times we do renovations, rehabilitations, do a lot of work with airports. How do you actually tell people we're under construction, but we still care about you? Temporary signage, temporary graphics to tell people we still care about you. How do you do this? Now, when we do this, we do a lot of interactive workshops. We try to get inside people's heads. I'm going to give you a really quick synopsis here. We have a lot of meetings. We talk a lot. Our meetings tend not to be like this. They're more like this. We actually get a little more engaged, do a lot of musical chairs, put a lot of hats on, try to get ourselves inside the minds of who we are as an organization, who your clients are as an organization. A lot of questions. Bad around ideas, there's no right or wrong answer. We just want to get as many ideas out there. If we kind of basically say, no, we're not going to do that. Oh, no, that's not right. We actually stop the discussion. We want to be really open-minded. We focus on 3 key elements. The big ideas. Brainstorm what the big ideas are. What are the right words? I mentioned to a few people earlier here in some of our exercises, we do a banned word exercise. We talk to all our architecture clients. What are the words you often use to describe yourself? Half of those get moved to the banned list right away. Multidisciplinary, interactive, soup to nuts, all these words that we don't know what they mean anymore. We have to stop using them. We also look at what are the right images, not necessarily photographs, but from presentations, from drawings. What are the right messages? And also what is the right media? We talk about how to package the message, strategy. We actually help people come up with what we call the elevator pitch. If you're stuck in an elevator with someone, you have 3 floors to talk about. What can you say in 10 seconds without boring someone saying, ooh, I'm an architect and I worked on so-and-so project. And we package it. It's got to look pretty. We are architects, you know, from the way we dress, from the way our computers look, from the way our projects look, or our offices look, these kick-ass pop-up offices. What is the right media? Today, is it print? Is it multimedia? Is it talking? A lot of us, younger, even younger than me, don't really know how to talk. Get up and talk about yourself. and talk about what it is we do and why our clients should matter. And then also coming up with the strategy of how to get there. I used this slide already. A lot of times, we as architects, we have the end product in mind, and we're just so focused on that. We don't actually look at all the steps we go through to get there, and that's where we make the best connections to our clients and show the most value. You mentioned earlier that we are losing a lot of ground to other services. If we can actually show the value of hiring someone like us and taking them from start to finish all along the way, focusing on the drawing, and like all good stories, we do come to an end, and I'm going to end today. Thank you very much.